Welcome to What a Week, the podcast where we talk about the things that you should have learned about this week. Today is Saturday, April the 14th, and my name is James Messer, and I'm joined today, as always, with Judy Messer. Hello.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
So nice to have you here.
It's nice to be here.
It's fun. And
I'm glad we made it.
And Renee in the chat room, she's been waiting. We've been running behind today. It's been one of those mornings where everything happens and it snowballs and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and life gets in the way of
like everything happened.
Everything. But we made it.
But we're here and Renee's here, so it's all good.
It's all good.
Everybody's here.
Everybody's here. We're okay. And we have stories this week. We have some pretty good stories this week. In fact, we have some that it seems like every week when I go through these stories, I tend to get things that seem like I've done these stories before, but it's really a different twist on something we've already talked about. And I'm realizing that I have like three things I concentrate on. One is food, another one is science, and another one is just other things.
Did you finally get a story about like a Barbie in space?
Potpourri. No Barbies in space this week.
Barbie needs to go.
Maybe that's the third thing, is Barbies in space. It could be.
I don't know if you could find that story.
We'll work on that. Our story this week, let's start with a story that is one that's really for me. I don't know if anybody else is even going to like this story. I love maps. I'm a big map person. I like all kinds of maps. Maps are kind of interesting. And I even have, you can't see it in the office, but I have a big map that's on the wall. We can sort of see it in that shot. There's this enormous, 6 foot high. It's a map. It's from a pilot's navigation chart from the U.S. Air Force back before it's the Baltic Seas, back before the USSR became all the different federated states that they have. And maps to me is just an interesting thing. Well, this particular site is a comparison of different maps that you can see online, because you've used Google Maps before. I've used Google Maps. I rely on that a lot. But now there are a number of other maps that are online that people are starting to use. And so it's interesting to see what the comparisons might be to some of those things. When you start looking at the different maps and what's there, you start to see there are significant differences between them. Let me see if I have this map up on my screen. I probably removed it before we got started with the podcast, because
are these maps you like use for navigation?
These are maps you use for whatever you need them for. So whatever you normally would use Google Maps for, this is what you would use. So you have some options. I'll show you what these options are in just a moment. As soon as I get that screen up, there we go. So here is, let me flip back over so you can see this. These are two different kinds of maps. I'll get rid of our heads so we can see them. On the left is Open Maps, Google Maps. You've got Bing Maps, Apple iPhoto Maps. There's an open source map. People are contributing to an open map that's not run by Google, and it's not run by Microsoft, and it's not run by the other folks. So it's pretty interesting to see what the options are. So if we were to choose, for instance, let's choose the open source map and Google Maps. That's what's on the right side. So you've got the two that you can compare with. And as you move around the map and as you drill into different parts of the map, you can start to see what the differences are in those two maps and the way they're laid out and what they provide. And there are significant differences. You don't even think about it. We did a story a few weeks ago about someone who created his own map very meticulously. He designed
I remember that story.
He won awards from this map that he created. And you start looking at maps and where the real differences are. There are some pretty significant differences. I'm going to drill down into Tallahassee, Florida, the state capital of Florida, and the world headquarters for Messer Studios. And you can see, what are you laughing about when I say world headquarters?
Because it feels like there should be like a big banner on this map, or
it's us. It's the world headquarters.
Like a shining star.
Here we are. But already you can see some significant differences between the two. And I sat in here for a while and just went through the different maps. What's the difference between Bing and Google? What's the difference between the open source and the Bing? And really drilled down into the pieces to see where could I really see some significant differences between the two. And some of these, like the open source map, I found very easy to read. I was actually quite surprised, because sometimes you wouldn't think an open source or a map that was available just for anybody would be so easy to see.
Now, the open source is the one here on the left.
Right.
That is much easier as far as roads.
OSM Mapnik. I think that's an open source. In any case, you get to really go through the differences between the two maps. So if you're somebody who's into maps, you like looking at the differences between them, or even trying to compare the differences. Because if you've ever looked at a Google map and a Bing map, sometimes you'll find problems.
Oh, I am I get lost.
Yes. Do
all
you?
the time.
What?
And you need a good map, like the map on the right, everything's in yellow and it gets really confusing.
Right.
When you're driving in the woods and you don't know where you are. But the one on the left, it has different colors.
You like the colors?
Yes.
Colors are nice. So you get to see the differences between those two and how they work. It's really quite remarkable when you start drilling into them and to see exactly how they're laid out. It's a lot of detail on some of these. I mean, down to the building level for Florida State University, the big university in town, one of the big universities in town. That is amazing. That's fantastic.
I need more than a map. I think I just need a person.
Some person to say.
A person with me to go, stop. No, it's
turn
right.
Left.
Turn
No, turn left. That was
right
your left.
Here.
Could you not turn left right there? We were right.
See, that's what I need. Kind of a naggy, assertive person.
And one that can tell you, oh, don't go that way. That's where they have the automated picture-taking streetlights.
Yes, the bad cameras.
So if you get caught out
which
in the
they
middle.
sneaky put more of them.
Did they? In town?
Oh, yes. I discovered them.
Oh, so please don't.
As I was driving through it, I was like, oh.
No, don't discover them as you're driving.
So distracting. I know. I'm going to have an accident because I'm looking at the camera.
That's not what we want to do. Please don't discover them in the wrong way. That's not what I'm shooting for. Well, after spending some time with that, I moved on this week to what a writer/rapper.
That's you. You are a writer and a rapper.
Well, sure, when I'm not doing this, that's certainly what I am. But in this particular case, it's a little bit different than that. It's actually a website where they put up quotations from James Joyce and quotations from Kool Keith.
Now, obviously, I've heard of James Joyce, but is Kool Keith a real person?
Kool Keith is a real rapper.
From when?
I'm not. You're asking me.
I don't think he's currently rapping.
Well, I'm not really listening to what the kids are doing these days with their hippity hop. I don't know, but what is it? But what I found.
I hope you never talk like that.
Thank you so much. Ever again. What I found on the website where you could actually go through who said it, James Joyce or Kool Keith. I realized
I don't think this is going to be that hard to figure out.
That's what I thought. So let's start. Let's just go through a couple of these. So you will learn, Christian, no Hebrew. On the balcony I see you, the devil's coffin with corpse of course. I'm going with Kool Keith.
I was going to say that has a rappy feel. I'm going to go with
Christian,
Keith.
no Hebrew. On the balcony I see you. I don't know. So let's go with Kool Keith. And did it tell us? I played Keith and it just went away. Is that right? If we get it right, now we're going to have to keep going. See if we get one wrong.
Well, this is obviously Joyce.
The great goddess who bends over the boy Adonis, stooping to conquer as prologue to the swelling act. Sounds dirty.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, I guess we're picking right because it's
Let's
not telling
purposely
us.
pick something wrong and see what happens.
Coffined thoughts around me in mummy cases, embalmed in spice of words.
One of these people is really hung up on coffins.
I don't know. This is in my. This is a horrible website.
Not helpful.
I went through a couple. I'm just going to keep picking Kool Keith and see what we get.
It doesn't tell
How
you.
many does it go through?
Bum, bum, bum.
Okay, 6 out of 10. Oh, it tells you. Okay, finally.
Oh, at the end.
So you will learn Christian, no Hebrew. On the balcony, I see you. Was indeed Kool Keith.
He's quite lyrical.
He's
very artistic. Why do I not know him?
Now, interestingly enough, we mentioned the devil's coffin with corpse, of course. Although this third one, which was coffined thoughts around me in mummy cases, embalmed in spice of words, was James Joyce.
Wow.
There you go.
They're like connected.
Who knew?
Through their words.
So back. So it's
Look,
just
bum, 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 ambulance. I bet you. Oh, it's Kool Keith.
lights
I was go
bright
with Joyce.
paramedics. Fetish your legs with eggs chicken hatch. That's out there.
I don't know what was going on there.
Kool Keith is way cool. He's too cool for me.
He's so cool. I don't understand.
He's so cool. It's not my type of thing.
I always feel bad when I don't understand. Like it's above my head.
It is. It's a little bit deep. So I just had a lot of fun with that one because I couldn't tell. They were all the same to me. What do I know?
That was pretty interesting because There were plenty of them that could have gone either way.
Well, in our house, there is a very important part of what our kids do on the computer. And that, of course, is Minecraft.
Oh, yes.
So when I saw the story, what a magical day where this came from Boing Boing, where someone has created Walt Disney World completely in Minecraft.
The kids were very excited when they heard about this.
Completely in Minecraft.
They were like, what?
Now, one thing that's important is context here, because we live in Florida. We go to Walt Disney World a lot. We have an annual pass.
I wish we lived right next door.
Right next door. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Just go there every day.
And you can see when you start looking at this, if you're familiar with Walt Disney World and the way it works, you'll know that this is really close to what it is. I mean, they did a remarkable job at rebuilding Walt Disney World. And we're looking through this like, oh, there's Tomorrowland. Oh, there's Space Mountain. And we were trying to figure out where were these places.
Oh, it's just beautiful. Now, that's the Speedway, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Who's that little guy?
Nope, he was looking at you.
It's like a pirate
It's
patch.
like Small World or something. That's the Contemporary Hotel. The Haunted Mansion. And they're working on Epcot, as you saw. They were just starting with Epcot.
You know, the kids are already on that.
That's pretty awesome.
That's very awesome.
That's pretty awesome. So what's nice about this, it is all people who have been at Walt Disney World. They've worked there. They're familiar with it. And they've just made it an open, available, downloadable server. So you can just pull it down, put it on your own server, and you have Walt Disney World on your Minecraft server.
Awesome.
I'm going to take this whole podcast. It's going to be Minecraft and Walt Disney
gonna be
World
in
next
Disney.
week. That's it. That'll be the only thing that we do going forward. I just found that remarkable, the amount of work they put into that and how interesting that is. Because if you go out through the years, people have done different things. Like in Google Maps, there's different parts of the park that pop out in 3D, so you can really see the buildings, things like that. But that one, it's interactive.
And I like that you don't have to pay for it.
And the rides work on some of these. You can get in the ride
They
and go through the
don't.
ride.
We definitely have to do a show there.
We can make that happen.
Will we look like ourselves or like a little Minecraft person?
We can make ourselves look like a little Minecraft person.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Let's do that. I think that'd be great. So when I was flipping also through the net, I came across this story this week on What a Mortgage, where this was Goldman Sachs, and it was the part of Goldman Sachs that handles the maintenance, or not maintenance, but the mortgage work. Whenever you want to get your mortgage adjusted. And a lot of that's going on right now. There's a huge amount of that going on. Well, what they did on this mortgage adjustment, they got an interview, not with some unknown person, but they got an interview with a former Goldman Sachs mortgage process. I think he was the, this is from a company called Litton, which is a subsidiary of Goldman Sachs. And he led the company's executive response team. So this is somebody who knows what's going on with what's going on. He was on the inside of what's happening. He called this a total disaster. And this links over to I'll put the links in the show notes of what was going on. And this links to ProPublica. And he talks about all of these things. That's him, Chris Wyatt. And he talks about what they would do is you had to send all of this paperwork into Goldman Sachs so they could process the changes to your mortgage. So you have to, of course, fax it in, because for some reason, I just went through this with some paperwork I had to do for taxes. You have to fax everything. So you have to find somebody who's still living in 1980 and use their fax
why
machine.
do you have to fax?
That's all these people know. Can't I just send you a PDF? Can I send you an email? What?
It needs to come by pony.
Needs to do
to the office.
And make sure it's written in charcoal. I don't know what that's about. So, but what they did is they didn't want to receive the faxes. The faxes would go to India.
What?
Yes, the faxes would go to India. And after the faxes went to India, they just got lost.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, of course they did.
Let me get this straight. I could send it here to you in the U.S., where I live,
Right.
or India, which is not where anybody lives
So
who's doing their mortgage.
Right. And of course they'd lose everything. And there's a certain time frame. If you don't get all of your paperwork in, sorry, didn't get it. You didn't give us all of our stuff.
Oh, but they keep the money that you gave them
sure.
to start the ball rolling.
Now let's do a closest to the pin, which is going to be easy because you're the only one playing. What percentage of completed transactions do you feel that Litton was able to do based on this craziness that they set up?
Over how long?
I think it's the whole as of the end of 2010. So I guess there's a couple years or a year or so worth of things going on there.
I just don't even know. 2,000? 3,000?
We're talking percentage.
Percentage.
What percent do you think we're able to get completed all the way through?
I would hope 70, 75?
12%.
12%.
Fewer than 12% of the borrowers who had applied were granted one. The vast majority of those denials weren't legitimate. Thank you so much.
That is not right. But they kept the money that those people had to give up front.
I guess so.
Well, yeah, because it's expensive. $700, $800 to get the ball rolling.
Now, fortunately, Goldman Sachs came back and gave a pretty detailed perspective.
Wow.
They said, we disagree with his account.
That was all they said. That was their detailed answer.
That was all. That's all they said. We disagree with their account, with his account.
12%. That's just unbelievable.
Thanks, Gold. And I am not a customer of Goldman Sachs, nor will I be.
This is a big company
Ever.
run by grown-ups.
That's the problem. It's a big company.
Oh, I thought you meant that it was run by grown-ups.
It's definitely not run by. When you do anything that's an outsourced, and this is not against India, that we do tons of outsourcing
right.
in the United
Sometimes it makes
States.
sense, but to a fax? Why would you do that?
I have yet to find, in practical terms, an outsourced endeavor that has ever been met with a higher level of quality. It most certainly is saving money.
Right.
But every single one, and I've seen a lot in a lot of different places, not just technology, not just banking, a lot of different environments where they've done tons of outsourcing because it saves money and bottom line and stockholders and et cetera, et cetera. And I think that is the death knell of a company when they start thinking that way. If I could save a penny, what I'll do is not give you better quality.
Well, I think that's how it happens, is somebody generates a report showing what you could save.
Saved millions.
But nobody takes into consideration how things go in the other country, the way the culture is, all of that. Setting the expense of setting things up, getting people trained, having somebody overseeing everything. Oh, and losing everything so you can't even get your work done.
If I was a stockholder in a company like that, right after they say we're going to outsource, I will keep the money in for another year because that's where they receive the savings. And then I would pull out everything. Just get rid of it. Do not invest in that particular organization.
What's really sad is this is at a time when so many people need to refinance and redo their mortgages.
Yeah. Well, 12% of them did.
12%.
Holy cow.
That's bad.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Goldman Sachs. Get with the program. And don't do this we deny with what he's saying. The numbers are right there. So found that an interesting story just to see what was going on. So of course, let's move on from bad management of companies into something that makes a lot better sense, which is our sun. Now, for people like me who like science, that's good. But I also have an amateur radio license. And one of the things that is key to amateur radio operators on the high frequency bands, those are the shortwave bands that you often think of, where people are communicating to the other side of the globe. The sun is an important part of your analysis of how well you're going to be able to communicate. High sunspot levels can actually improve what you're able to communicate with because they are bombarding the atmosphere and allowing you to bounce the signal off of the inside of the atmosphere to the other side of the earth. Very, very large amount of sunspot activity actually creates problems for you.
Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't know it could ever be
There's
helpful.
a magic level of this type of thing. So you get this amount of and it happens with different frequencies as well. With some frequencies, sunspots are bad. With some frequencies, sunspots are good. There's a different amount that you measure. And of course, there are different websites you can go to learn more about how the sun is doing. Well, this is an interesting one. Last week or week before, we looked at one that had real-time views of wind patterns.
Right. That was very cool.
Very cool. You can see exactly what the wind was doing. This one is a real-time view of the sunspots. So if you go to Helio Viewer, you get this view right here. And this is sort of like Google Maps for the sun. This is what the sun looks like.
That is unreal.
This is from, right now. These are the 350 UTC on today, and you can do a time step. You can look over it over the last week, for instance, and step through how the sun has been during that time frame. And you can move back and forth one step to see how the sun is changing over that time. You can zoom in to the sun. You can view it. They have different types. This is an image from one particular system.
How do they get these pictures?
You can go and use different instruments. They have different observatories that all they do is look at the sun. So you can go from one observatory to another. They have different filters and things that you can put onto the view to look at the sun and the sunspots.
I'm always amazed when we do these stories. It looks like art.
It does. Actually,
it really does.
Really
like
does.
If you blew that up, you could put it on a canvas and it would be really cool.
You can capture them and share them on other places too. And you can see what people are sharing and how they've been able to pull some of these things up and look at them. A remarkable view of the sun and what it's doing.
That's just amazing.
So it's interesting, the cosmic rays and the storms that come through and how they affect everything with our satellites and how they affect communication over high frequency band. They affect communication for planes that are going across the ocean. I mean, there's a lot of places where this comes into play because that's what those planes are using, is those high frequency communication. And this is a great example of how you can see that in effectively real time, near real time of what's happening right now with the sun.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Just an amazing view of what's there.
I never knew sites like this were out there.
I know. I just stumble across and think, that's really cool. I Instapaper it, and then we get to see it at the end of the week. Quite a remarkable view. And you can go in and play around with this. There's a whole help and how-to in here. You can take screenshots. You can take a movie, so you can capture the sun over time and then post it to YouTube right from here, right into your YouTube account.
Beautiful.
Very, very cool. Very remarkable. And when you start working with a lot of these things, and especially if you get into a type of hobby like amateur radio, where what the sun does becomes important to you, that also helps out a lot as well. Well, I thought this last story, I thought of you. What an overpass.
Why did you think of me at an overpass?
It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Because this overpass, there's two reasons. One of it involves animals. Okay,
I like that part.
And it involves Canada.
Awesome.
So there's a link here also from Boing Boing this week. This is an overpass that it goes over a highway, and scientists have set up cameras, and they've set up different places where they can capture the paw prints of the animals that go over the overpass. And they go over the overpass so they won't go through the road, of course.
Is it so that cars don't go on this overpass?
Right.
It's made
Cars
for
are underneath.
wildlife.
That's right.
Instead of a tunnel under the road, this one's over the road.
Effectively for the animals. And I have a view of this.
I love that.
That I have pulled up. Here's the Boing Boing article. And I'm going to go right to the website. I was flipping around on the website.
So they caught this on the camera.
On the camera. And this is nothing. Let me flip over to the website. Oh, the bandwidth limit exceeded. It's been so incredibly popular. Oh, no.
We need sad trombone music right now.
Wah, wah, wah. Little did they know. Well, at least we have this
Trust
picture.
us, it was really good.
We have this picture from Boing Boing, so we can at least see some of this.
You know, I look at this. I hate to see animals killed on the side of the road. It kills me. It's so heartbreaking.
I know.
And to see something like that where they're alive and well and going where they need to go.
And they did a great job at being able to see this. And I'm hoping I have some of these cached. So that's what I'm trying to pull up on the backside of
We
this.
have turtles. I don't know where these turtles are trying to go in our town, but they have got to go somewhere. And it's so sad because you see them there on the street trying to cross.
Right.
And there's always some nice person pulled over. Usually it's the dad. And the mom and the kids are in the car like, go get the turtle. And you see him carrying it across the road.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yes.
I understand.
A little pressure from your family.
Just a little bit.
You're not going to drive away and leave it.
This overpass, though, the pictures aren't on here. And I'll put the link in the show notes so that people can go see it. But this is a massive, very, very wide overpass over this highway. So I would imagine like a 4-lane highway width is the size of this overpass that goes over the highway. So the animals are really encouraged. There are fences up. They are really encouraged to go that way. And there's so much room that they do. There are pictures there of deer. There are pictures of a moosin. There's pictures of the lynx that you see here. And it also, they have a nice blog where the scientists talk about what they do to maintain this, because they also go and put in this section that's sort of underneath things, they put down, I'm not sure what it is, some type of charcoal thing that captures the footprints. The animals walk over it, and then they walk over this white piece of material to put their footprints.
So they can see who's using it.
So they can see who's using it, and they can see all the little animals and little mice and everything out there. It's quite remarkable.
They should put some treats up there.
Oh, well, I don't know if they do treats.
Our dogs will do anything.
They'll go over the overpass.
If there's a dog treat involved, they're going to do it.
I don't think they need treats. And of course, I think this is a Canadian thing. So, the Trans-Canada Highway in Banff National Park.
That is fantastic. I love it. I wish we had more.
So I thought of you absolutely with your Canadian heritage and certainly the animals.
We're friends to the animals.
Friends to the animals in that piece. So I'm sorry we weren't able to show you the live website on What a Week. Obviously, incredibly popular. So very, very great to be able to see that. And I'll put the links in the show notes.
I hope they start putting up more of that.
I will pay for their bandwidth. I will be glad to host that so that their bandwidth is no longer exceeded. Call me, Canada. I'll hook you up. I'll be glad to. We'll get you going.
Somebody said they rescued a turtle, but he ran under the car. Oh, that's
how does a turtle run into the car?
Well, in his turtley
I turned
way.
around for 5 minutes and he was gone.
Then you have to inch the car up so you can grab him.
They can be quick. They just move their little...
when they want to.
Oh, yeah.
Not when they're crossing the road. They're very slow.
They're very slow when that happens. Well, that brings us to the end of yet another What a Week series of podcast here. We've got, of course, you can always visit our website to see not only this podcast, but any of our previous editions at whataweekpodcast.com. You can follow us on Twitter at whatweek. We'll get you the What a Week podcast. And of course, if you'd like to communicate with me directly, you can send an email to james at whataweekpodcast.com. So next week, I plan on more science. I haven't had a chocolate or a cheese story in quite some time. We're really up to needing
we need to
one
do
of
that.
those
We're way behind.
desperately. And I'm going to spend the rest of the week playing Minecraft in Walt Disney World.
Renee tells you good luck with your taxes.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up, Renee. In the United States, tomorrow is the last day to file taxes. I've not filed the taxes because they're taking money away from me.
He's holding it to the last second.
And I'm angry. I'm an angry man. So
you tell him.
You do that. My son said I should pay it all in pennies, and I said, you can come visit me in jail.
Well, I agree with his argument. It is legal tender in the United States.
I think that perhaps won't fly with the IRS. So
That's a lot of pennies, though.
I'll be sending it to them via a standard in electronic distribution.
We don't want to do anything to attract more attention. Just go right under the radar. Give your
love
money,
paying my taxes. I will be glad to pay them each and every year. If there's anything you need,
think of all the turtle highways.
There's no turtle highways involved.
Your money will build.
I'm building multiple turtle highways this year. Good luck with the turtles. And if you also have any stories that you'd like to add to What a Week, you can always go to the website. We've got a contact us link as well. And on behalf of myself, James Messer, and my co-host, Judy Messer, thanks for joining us again. We'll see you next time on What a Week.
Bye.